we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, I'm going to tilt this a little bit. Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Michelle Jackson. I run the Project Creators Getting Paid. I ask people how they make money online and I share that with you. I also have another project called Square State Colorado, where I share all things Denver and the state of Colorado. So if you are weirdly curious about Colorado, let me know. Angela.
Hey everybody, my name is Angela Hollowell. I write two newsletters. One is Please Hustle Responsibly. It is a newsletter for creators who want to learn, connect, and grow. The other one is Melanin MVP. It is a women's sports focused newsletter. So if you're an everyday athlete, a runner, a cyclist, a hiker, a swimmer, or if you're just a women's sports fan, this is a newsletter for you. You can find both of them here on Substack.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Corey Gums. I'm the founder of the Black Podcast Association. Also, I run the newsletter right here on Substack, blackpodnews.com. That's blkpodnews.com. And it's the only trade newsletter dedicated to the black side of podcasting. Uh, if you're interested, if you're a podcaster, you're interested in being featured, or if you're a freelancer in this industry and you want to get hired, we have some options on our newsletter to promote you. So check that out. But please make sure you subscribe if you want to learn more about Black content, what's going on in the business side of podcasting and related to Black creators. Subscribe. There we go.
By the way, I love your branding, you two. Love to see it. Very subtle. I was like, wait a minute, I see that. So before we get into today's conversation, which is what we're doing to prepare for the holiday sales cycle, I saw that. I wanted to very briefly talk about something that is podcast related. All three of us are heavily in the podcast space. I found it so interesting, and we're just going to touch base on it real quick. So, did everyone in here see the Mark Lamont Hill Joe Budden um, conversation that happened the other night? I think this is a broader like conversation around just podcasting and being in spaces sometimes with people who have a lot of thoughts, but maybe they're not quite where you are about where you have your thoughts. I don't know. What did you guys think about that exchange between those two gentlemen? And just the fact someone made a joke about the fact that there's 7 hosts for that show, which is a whole different conversation, but which seems aggressive. I am not a Joe Budden fan. I'm not trying to be on that. I don't listen to that show. I like to pivot. I think that's a very thoughtful and well crafted experience. So, what are your thoughts before we get into our topic?
I feel like Corey wants to go first, so I'll wait on him.
First? I want to go first.
Oh, he's like,
Oh,
I
you don't?
don't.
I can if you don't want to.
I like you. I'm not a big fan of the show. What I saw Mark Lamont go through is a deeply rooted issue in our community. Period. That I broadcasted on a podcast.
Hold on,
Which is
really
the
quick.
entire.
Michelle, while he's talking, can you mute?
Oh yeah.
'Cause we can hear what's happening.
I don't know how to mute.
On your on
Oh
the
wait,
app, there's a microphone.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a more deeply rooted issue in our community because I spent a lot of time in the Black conscious community about a decade ago. Anti-intellectualism, and it was on display. Uh, it was on display. Clearly, there was other rooted issues going on between them. And I watched a clip of earlier in the conversation where Joe Budden kind of threw it out. He kind of instigated it. He brought up how they deal with their issues behind the scenes, and he made it public, and that's what triggered flipping Dr. Mark, and then it spilled over. But then there's a conversation afterward where Joe Budden talks about if he wasn't a rapper, he would have handled this differently, more professionally. But it makes for good content. So it's kind of you got to watch the whole thing. So that's where my issue lies. But I've want to have a problem with so many people speaking on a podcast because it's just too much going on, and they've always had that problem. Um, but I'm not I'm not happy about it. I don't like it. And Queens Flip is from where I'm from Queens. So I can't really I wasn't like let's go Queens on that moment. But I think it's anti-intellectualism, and I think a lot of people project, and especially in this podcast space in the Black community, they project their securities when they feel uh, belittled, threatened, or whatever. And I don't think he said anything wrong to Queens Flip, so that's why I'm at with it. But it is this is an issue that I try to address through our organization with raising the standard and getting people to understand the responsibility they have as podcasters and speaking on platforms and even taking a more journalistic journalistic practices in regards to how they convey messages and speak to each other. So, but it's also where a lot of media training goes into as well, right? Um, and Dr. Lamont, he was he's he's extremely media trained, so he's like the consummate professional on it. Even in the conversation, he was being in it. Even though he was like, let's go outside and talk about it, he was still like, let's calm down. This is getting heated. He still had the presence of mind to be able to be like, we need to stop and talk about it. And I had a problem with with the rest of the other co-hosts not saying nothing and trying to stop it until it got to the point where they were like, let's go outside and talk about it. So that's my position on it.
I have a couple different thoughts on it. One was I felt like Joe Budden didn't get up until the woman co-host said, "I'm
He
afraid," or
felt,
like, "I'm
yeah,
scared."
yeah, I heard
So
that.
it was like you wait until you feel like someone else's safety is threatened to do something. And then I think like when listening back to the clip that has been going viral, you could hear him saying, "Don't cut the cameras, don't cut the cameras. Like we're gonna keep all this in." So he's like aware that this moment that he apparently has instigated is going to be something that people clip. It's going to be something that people makes people want to tune into the show and see like what led to this moment. From a business perspective, like there's a couple of issues I have with the show that I'm very surprised nobody's pointed out. Like I'm very aware that even though I don't watch the Joe Budden podcast, even though I don't watch Joe Rogan, those are two of like the most listened to and watched shows by Black people. So I'm aware of their like influence on the community. However, and I know that Joe Budden is as well. If he's making $1 million a year off Patreon alone, apparently, like he's coinsy. You know what I'm saying? Like he can afford to pay this many people to like be on the show. Um, but to Corey's point, one, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Like from a business standpoint, just because you can pay them doesn't mean you should. If you're bringing Dr. Lamont on the show, I think from Mark's standpoint, from his standpoint, like he probably should have put a time limit on this because I think this has like become a ticking time bomb of like this probably wasn't the first moment that he really vehemently disagreed with somebody. You know what I'm saying? It just has bled over into the fact that he was like, "Yo, I'm not going to be disrespected like this." Um, so from his standpoint, I would have put a time limit on it. I would have had a flat fee determined in that, maybe a little extra for the headache because you know there's going to be a headache. And then like I don't know. I don't think there's any excuse for that. I think like when you're getting to the point where you're doing stuff for likes and views, you've kind of lost the plot of the podcast.
That's how he's always been, though. That's how Budden's podcast has always been about that. So, like, I wasn't surprised when he was like, don't cut the cameras." I mean, he said it
Yeah.
later on in the conversation. But I want to talk about something too because this is also a problem we have with information and with disinformation and all that stuff in the podcast spaces. That Mark takes a position of I'm going to come on this show and meet people where they're at, so I can be the educated or the voice of reason or whatever. And I trust me, I understand that conversation a lot and that sense of responsibility. But I do agree with you. There has to come a point, and those are his friends, and he has personal relationships with them too. So that makes the thing a little bit more complicated as well. But I think there is a point where it's like, okay, maybe my time here needs to move on. Like with Melissa Ford did. Like, she was there for a while and then she decided she needs to move on to something else. So
I think, and not to cut Michelle off, I know I want her to join and like weigh in, but one thing I think is interesting that I would love to see more of. So if you think about like Armchair Expert, they've been able to create spin-off shows by having people on the show for a limited amount of time and then giving them like maybe a solo segment. So like his co-host and another girl, Liz Plank, came on and they did um just the two of them did a show that was like a Saturday show or something. And then after that kind of took off, they got their own feed. So they moved it onto their own feed. I think looking back on this, Mark probably should have thought about that for himself. He probably should have said, I'll come on for, let's say, 3 months and I'll be a part of the main show. After 3 months, I want my own segment with maybe one other person or just me that's on this RSS feed for Joe Budden. After 1 or 2 months of that to see if people are interested in that. If there's a proven concept, I want to move on to my own show and have my own platform. I think that should have been the conversation personally, because I'm always thinking about how do I get back to owning my own thing and how do people get back to owning and like what is a sustainable way to like birth new shows with audiences to make a show sustainable when they start to think about monetizing said audience. Um, But again, I don't know if, given the conversation, I don't know if the intellect was in the room with him to even have that conversation with Joe Biden. Um, so I don't know. I would like to believe that if he presented something like that to Joe Biden, he would have understood. You know what I'm saying? Like if he would have bring that to Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club, he would have understood, right? Like Angie Martinez has her own show, like all these other things. Like there have been spin-off shows before. This is not a new concept. But yeah, I think he's doing, at this point, he gained a lot of respect for how he responded, but I also do think he's like not doing himself any favors if he continues to stay on the show.
but Michelle, can I just make one point real quick? And it's going to be a real short point. The biggest issue I have with this is a lot of Black listeners, a lot of audiences of Black podcasts think this is how Black podcasts are supposed to go. Black based
Mhm.
podcasts or hip hop generational related podcasts are supposed to go. Because when I meet people, they're like, I want a podcast like this. I want to do this something similar. And you see a lot of copycats trying to mimic the dynamics that these shows have by creating, hot takes and misinformation and all these things. And yes, a format with different personalities it's not a new thing. This is something that all goes all the way back to talk radio, for decades. But I think the popularity of shows like this sets this it does our whole community a disservice when we have other types of content out there that are really good and that would give people some good. I mean, but again, a lot of them probably intellectual. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
It, wa-
The
okay,
spiral to
so
I'm gonna stop pipeline is hilarious.
I was about to
so
go somewhere.
so I was watching this, and I'm always, especially nowadays, I'm always very concerned. And sorry, guys, I am not at the house. I'm at a hotel that I was at today for an event, so you might hear some noise. I'm very concerned, to your point, Corey, about like comportment and how people carry themselves. And um, I I don't think we have to be in community with everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to show up in front of everybody's audience. Like, I personally, if Joe Budden was like, "Hey, Michelle, I heard about you randomly, blah blah blah," I'd be like, "We're not a good fit. We're not a good fit because I don't want to be arguing with you. I don't want to be talking to six other people. I don't want to be doing all this." And so I wonder if did Mark, Dr. Uh, Lamont Hill, feel like this was an opportunity he had to say yes to, or I don't think every platform's for everyone. I'm very happy though that he defended himself. I feel like there was a lot of disrespect that was building up behind the scenes. And just because someone is smart, just because they're using big words or whatever is going on, doesn't mean anything to do with your intellect. It just means that that man spent a lot of time studying and it's fine that he uses the words that he uses. Maybe this is an opportunity to learn because it's a podcast. That's the whole point, to learn and have these different opinions and lived experiences. And I feel like, why didn't he just say, hey, sometimes when you're like off camera, sometimes when you are speaking, sometimes it can feel a little intimidating for me, or I feel like you have to be very self-evolved to even have that kind of conversation, right? My grandfather, who has passed away many years ago, he only had a third grade education. My grandmother, I think she had a ninth grade education, and so I understand having people in your life, and that's not, obviously the only people, having people in your life who haven't attained that type of education. There's many ways to be educated, right? The school of life, what have you. I just feel like there was just a lot of disrespect towards him, and I hope that he reevaluates. Is this where I need to show up? And for me, I'm going to agree with Angela. This may not be where he needs to be. I would wrap it up and call it a day and move on, because Joe is not going to respect this man. He does not respect him. He feels intimidated, feels uncomfortable for whatever presence. I do think it was hilarious that the co-hosts like, pull your shirt down. I want to see your booty crack. It was just embarrassing and messy. And I also think that sometimes just because you're a nerdy intellectual person doesn't mean that you're not from Philly and won't throw hands. And if he sat there and like was like, please, like, let's, take this off, like, let's remove ourselves from this space and kind of stop having this conversation this way. And Joe didn't have the like ability to be like, okay, let's do that. It's always going to be like that. That, like, believe what they show you the first 17 times. This is how the show is. And for me, I would just not want to be there. This is not a space for me. It's too, like, the energy is too low vibrational. And we're going to leave it at that. So, moving on. It's like a low vibrational plate.
But
Well,
I just
thank
would
you,
say,
Lauren.
he knows the audience. He knows who he's dealing with. He knows who he's in front of. And this is not the first incident with where they had some stuff. But and the funny thing, they had behind the scenes coverage. I think he had it out with another co-host a couple months ago. I think Issue was the light skin dude when he was talking up some ignorant stuff, and they kind of got into it behind the scenes, and they had somebody was actually recording, and they released that. So sometimes I think too is I think Joe learned a lot from his time on what was it House Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Like how to use that to bring how to bring attention to your show. You could almost pay attention to these shows and see when it's going to come up, right? Like it's quiet, there's no clips really circulated, and then boom, here comes this thing that they put out, and all of a sudden they're back in the conversation again too. So you see that with a lot of different celebrities doing that this day. So I even think that was part of it too. It's like let's create some drama here.
And I know we're about to get into Black Friday, and I think this is very important because we're about to talk about capitalizing on a certain time of year, right? Which is essentially what he did. He capitalized on a moment where he felt like nothing was really happening, and he could kind of take advantage of that for his show. And like, we go back to like Love and Hip Hop. I distinctly remember, like, this is Cardi B pre Bodak Yellow, pre the teeth. Yeah, like pre blow up when she was on Love and Hip Hop. And she eviscerated this man for like embarrassing the women he was like having in a love triangle and just like lying to and being a deadbeat to, right?
Oh,
And that went viral like years ago. And this is, when like VH1 was like prime time mess. Um, like every show on VH1 was just messy as an ethos, right? So I think like to Corey's point, like this isn't coming out of the blue. This isn't some random strategy. It's something he knows very well because it's happened to him. But he also is banking on the fact of like this being a moment and this being like short-term memory and this not really being something that people are going to be talking about in 3 months. So he doesn't care. He's willing to like smear these people on social media because he, in his mind, is like, it's not going to matter in 3 months anyway. And by that time, we'll have gotten our return on this like video clip going viral. Um, and that is inherently a problem for me. Like, where is like the ethical consideration of like doing something timely to capitalize on a moment? And I'm sure we'll get into it, but just like not to use Corey's words, but like the grifters that you're gonna see popping
Oh,
out between now and like Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday time frame, magically having the key to all your wishes, like 59.99. Like, I'm not excited about it. It's why I don't like to think about it. But we're about to have this conversation. You said ethics and Joe. I know, girl, that's a laugh and a hoot, ain't it? Like this man,
I'm gonna
why would those words ever go in the same sentence?
I'm gonna take the
But
transcript from all of our shows and I'm gonna count how many times the word grifter comes up in our shows. I'm gonna use AI to do it.
it's going to be a drinking game. Oh my God.
that's so funny.
Um, okay, so today we're talking about preparing for the holiday sales cycle. And so we're talking is a show focused on the creator economy. That's part of the reason why we had this conversation about the podcast with, Joe Budden and what happened. But I think it's also important to have a conversation because we're in front of a lot of other creators who are trying to build financially sustained brands. And it is it is it is clear that Q4 out of all the quarters typically is the most monumental in terms of potential for earnings, and then probably Q1 for new year, new you. And so I thought it'd be interesting for us to talk about like what are the things that we're doing to kind of prep and prepare our audience for whatever things that we might be considering selling. Are we preparing now? And especially for those of you who are like, oh wait, it's 6 weeks out and I haven't started or haven't thought about it. So, Corey, what are you doing to prepare for the holiday sales cycle?
Let's just throw Corey under the bus right now. I'm not doing much. I'm probably gonna do a Black Friday sale for like the membership for Black BPA. Um, Both as an internal mechanism to get people that are not on, because we have a free tier that are not paid members to become paid members, but also just to get new membership. But I'm trying. I was telling before we got on here, I was telling Angela I was working on Notebook LM, trying to use that as a research tool to help me make my course, the stuff that I've been working on, much better. So yeah, coach, I was like, I already got enough on my plate, but I think I'm just gonna probably just focus on like what I've been doing and maybe hopefully collaborate with some other communities that have paid memberships. Cause like I used to do that with Women of Color when Danielle was doing it, where we would do like a split membership where you paid one fee and you got membership to both of our communities or for Black Friday. And we would get a good turnout for that. So I'm gonna start I was actually talking with a couple of organizations about doing that and seeing how we could just do like a one thing. Everybody gets a cut. You might not get the full membership fee, but I think it's more important for me getting people involved in the community versus just making the money off of it. So that's why I'm willing to do something like that. But that's
That's so
kind of where I'm at
smart.
right now. I might have a templated Notion per product coming out, Angela. Thanks to Notion AI, this helps sped up that process. That I'm hopefully if I could get that rolling out, then I'll probably do something with that for Black Friday or for the holiday season, do a holiday sale with that. But I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep right now. So it's right now in the ideation, development stage.
I'm happy. I'm happy. Yeah, I'll jump in. Um, yeah, that's such a good idea. We've been like throwing around this idea of like a collective, and I think we need to spin the block. But anyways, Michelle's like, okay, sure. Um, but I think Community OS, we're gonna do a big sale for that. I don't know how big, but pretty big, at least 50%, if not more. It's the holidays. It's time for giving back. Why not? Just give back to the people. I have some merch, so we're gonna do a sale on merch. Um, those are the two big things in terms of like revenue generating. I'm on 3 nonprofit boards, so I want to actually do some commercials for the nonprofits that I'm a part of to help them out for Giving Tuesday. I have not been the most emotionally available at times, so this is my way of giving back and hopefully having a little fun in the process. So yeah. What about you, Michelle?
So, um, I feel like this is a broader conversation around tactics too. One of the things that I've done is I have launched an 8-week like preparation series to kind of help support the people in my community as they prepare for the holiday sales cycle. You guys, it was so quiet when I sat over here, by the way. So I'm sorry that
That's how
it's
it always
noisy, but
is. That's how it always goes.
anyway, so I week number 2 for that 8-week sales sprint was this past Sunday. And literally, I'm just like covering different topics each week to kind of get people to know, like to prepare for their own sales cycle. At the same time, I'm also talking about the products that I plan to sell. So I have the newsletter. The newsletter will go on sale, of course. I have a membership that I'm rolling out, and the soft open is basically Q4. The doors will open on Monday, but I'm trying to get all the current like paid tiered people for the newsletter. I want to onboard whomever is a paid tier, so I'm in the process of reaching out to people for that. I have a course that I would also um, that I also plan on selling. It's been in beta, so I'm going to be selling that. And then I'm doing an accelerator in Q1. And so my thought is anyone who makes a purchase of any product will get a savings code towards the accelerator because that's a high ticket product. And so that'll help save them money if they decide to purchase during Black Friday weekend, or, like I have to kind of plan it out tomorrow, as well as in January. So that's kind of what I am doing. I'm just really looking at from now until basically the end of January, because I feel like that's the cycle. What are all the things that I'm doing? What connects with what? Where can I market what I'm about to do? Like, I don't want for people to be like, "Oh, I didn't know you had this product," because I never mentioned it before. So I'm trying to really like share talking points in my podcast, in the live streams that I'm hosting. I'm working to warm up my list, like make it as warm as possible. So that's the other part of the sales sprint is talking to people who, and I've met really like people who are new to me in the sales sprint already. And so I'm really liking that. The other thing is with one of my products, with the membership specifically, I'm also for those first 100, like the goal is to get 100 people by the end of the year. They're all going to be given an affiliate link if they request one. So they don't have to have an affiliate, but the idea is as they onboard, I'll say if you would like to be an affiliate, this is um, available to you, and then I can onboard them, and then that way I can grow the the membership faster because I'm just one little person. And so I think that's also an incentive as well. So I'm just really trying to like figure out like the broader goal and then like work my way back. So that is the plan. And the accelerator is what was going to be the course. So that 4 C's I was talking about. And then with the 4 C's, I decided I wanted to do an accelerator where I'm teaching them live over a weekend or like 2 weekends, and then have time after that with the people. Yes, I am definitely looking at bundles, Coach Ty. Absolutely. So that literally the goal is to get all that planned out by tomorrow. That way it's really clear to me what I'm doing. And then that way I can put together all my marketing materials and then add any marketing content specific to the podcast and the podcast, any live streams that I need to schedule outside of the sprint, any collaborations. I think collaborations I think the window for that is starting to close as people get closer to the holiday season, they get busy. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. What about you guys, dear watchers? Are you planning for the holiday sales cycle? Do you have products? Like, what are you guys up to? Feel free to add that to the chat.
What made you,
Um,
Michelle, what made you decide to go with the accelerator with your course? Because I was actually thinking about doing something like that.
well, I'm not so I love doing like masterminds. I've hosted one, I want to say I've hosted one maybe twice before, definitely in 2023. And I love just like having those regular meetings with people and being in community and really making sure that they got out of the content what I wanted them to get out of it. So I'm concerned that they're not going to do the work. That's part of it. But I really want to lean into um, connection. And I want to make sure that like, I don't want a billion people in the accelerator. So basically, I just didn't want to create this course and then sell it and then just feel like something was left hanging. So I wanted to go ahead and do it live. So right now I'm thinking of either a Saturday and a Sunday where we work through the materials and then we get people to connect. Because my big thing for 2026 is connection. I want people, whether you're virtual or in real life, I want you to really get to know people. I think that's going to be hugely important and really like key to growth in the projects that we're building. And so in order to facilitate that happening, I have to meet people. And considering that I've basically been at my house this whole year, the fact that I've grown the way that I have is really attributed to the people that I know. So I want to make sure that they're learning the information, that they're meeting people, which is core value, and then I know that they learned what I wanted them to learn. It could be that I do this as a cohort maybe 3 times in a year. So maybe I do it January and then March and then August and then October. So I'm kind of thinking that might be the way that I do it and just have a wait list for each cohort. It's hard to say because the membership is also launching, but it's a simple membership. It's not supposed to be complicated. Um, so what I'm promising with the membership is very straightforward. So I think I'm able to probably do both. I don't know. I'll play around with it, but I just didn't trust that with all that stuff that's going on, that people would go through enough of the content to get the value that I want them to. And so that's the other part. So I wanted a high ticket product, but I wanted it to make sense.
Gotcha.
There's a question in the comments. I think Lauren said need more distribution. Can you expand on that? Like, are you saying that we need more distribution or that you want slash need more distribution for whatever it is you're working on? Hey, Eric, how's it going? Thank you guys for joining. Um, yeah, I think that's interesting. I was also wondering how you were going to price the accelerator since you pivoted it from being a course. Like, if it's a self-paced course, that's a different price point than having access to you over an extended period of time, even if that's only a couple of days. So I'm glad to hear that's going to be a high ticket situation. I do want to ask how many folks you plan to try to get to sign up before January, because like typically after Christmas, people have spent all their money, their credit cards are maxed out, like they're not trying to make a big purchase in the month of January.
I mean, I so I have a lot of different thoughts about this. People are still going on ski trips. And that's a hell of a high ticket. You know, like people are still spending their money the way that they are. A lot of people, it's the beginning of the new year, so they might have money allocated towards professional development. So, like, I typically, when I buying professional development stuff, it's in January. That's also the time when I'm looking at conferences for the year. So I'm looking at like what am I spending my money on moving forward. So I'm not even I, I I think that goes back to tactics and why I'm talking about these things now, right? So I don't want to show up and be like, "Oh, hey, January, I have this $1,000 thing." And they're like, "What the hell?" So, I'm starting to talk about it now
Now, right.
with the idea of making sure that people are aware of it, and then I'm also factoring in the discount, so anyone who's purchasing something during the holidays, I'm sharing that discount code to also kinda defray from the cost to kinda like, balance that out. So I'm really thinking about how long of a runway do I need to give people in order to be prepared that this is happening. But when I did the mastermind the last time, I sold it at this time of year, and then we onboarded in early December and started in January.
Okay. Couple comments. Um, Here, one is from Coach Ty Create. She says, creating a digital product and working on curating my community with a marketing plan. What type
Nice.
of community are you building? Because that's going to determine what kind of products you make and what marketing strategies and tactics are going to work best for you. Um, Interesting. So it sounds like we have Lauren, who's more of a freelance creator, and then Coach Ty, who's more of an online creator. And I think that's also
Coach
really interesting. Like, when you think about doing sales, like when I was a freelancer, doing a sale on Black Friday, why would I do that? This is like I wouldn't, quite frankly. But as an online creator, that's a different conversation, right? Like you have to think a little bit more like an e-commerce business at times, than a freelancer. It's just fundamentally different. It also depends on your cash flow. I was getting majority of my money in Q3 and Q4. Why would I discount that when I know I can make a lot more? Right? Because it's especially working with nonprofits, they're trying to gear up for end of year giving, right? So it's worth it for them to invest in creative services when they know they're going to get a big return on investment, whether that's through endowments, through major donors, through events, or through end of year giving, just by awareness. So different vibe.
I'm curious, so this came up during my live stream on Sunday, and I actually in rewatching it, I was like, "I have to clarify this because I hadn't worked through it enough." What are you guys hoping like, what are the earnings loosely? Like, you don't have to be like, "This is exactly what I wanna earn," but, like, what are the metrics that you're looking at that you would consider to be success for this holiday sales cycle?
I didn't even
Or
get that far.
have you even thought about it?
I haven't even gotten that far. No, I'm with Court. I'm like, there's a lot going on right now. One thing at a time.
My bank account not in the negative. I mean, anything more than what's in
Uh,
there right now. I mean that's my metric.
so I'm gonna be honest, like, I was, doing my live stream, it was so annoying because my internet dropped at the house, so I had to go to my local Whole Foods, which God bless them. Thanks for the free Wi-Fi. And then my neighbors were like, "Hey, do you want to be in the holiday parade?" And I'm like, "What? There's a Halloween parade, like this huge one." So I got invited to that while I'm doing my live stream. I'm like, "This is a lot. Like, just focus." Anyway, so I'm on the live stream. I'm distracted. My neighbors are saying hi, and it comes to the point where they're like, I'm like, "Well, I'm thinking about what I want to earn during like that holiday cycle." I would love to earn minimum for the first week, for that Black Friday week. I would love like 3,000 would be great. Um,
Yeah, it
when I
would
was
be.
talking about when I was talking
I'm
about
not
it
laughing
during
at
the
you. I'm
live
laughing at
stream,
Lauren being like, a lot was going on during that live.
it was so funny. But, I would love to earn about 3,000 for that first week would be fine. And then that second push during December, I clearly wanna earn more as I onboard people. or they begin onboarding people for the accelerator. And then that third push in January when I close doors for the accelerator. So I think there's three tiers to what I'd like to earn. I haven't worked out what quite that end result would be, that ideal end result. I will say for sure, I would love to have at least 100 people in the membership that I'm launching. And so I'm really thinking about how do I design a bundle that makes sense where people are incentivized to say yes. I will say, actually, I want to lean on Threads because I randomly posted about the membership, and someone today was like, "How do I sign up?" Like it was just out of. I have never seen this person in my life, but they were actually an ideal fit for it, and I was like, "That's wild." So I'm gonna really like play around with Threads. I'm on there a lot anyway. I have fun on it, so I don't think it'll be a heavy lift to try to sell on Threads. So I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Red is an interesting place because it feels like, aside from Blue Sky, the only social media platform that doesn't disincentivize people from clicking a link. Like, I think Lex Roman and like Project C, they've been like thriving off of like their membership drive for this month. And then there's another person who is doing like a workshop on like creator journalism. Heck, I signed up for it. Like I'm susceptible to the propaganda of creators having a place to like push their products. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and not be penalized for it. And it actually shows up in my feed of like people, like I'm discovering new people. And then now I'm on her email list to get some crap I don't want. But I do want to go to the thing she's doing. So it's interesting. I am enjoying Threads. I think it's a great place to capitalize on right now because I think it is reported that it now has passed the daily users of Twitter. And I'm sure that's because Twitter has just been on the decline for a while. So it's not Twitter in its heyday for sure. Like, don't expect that level of virality. Um, but it does have some like cheeky early Twitter energy with
Yeah.
really good photography. So I'm enjoying.
I
But
will say I'm wondering if I should add a QR code and a link. So I'm going to play around with that, and I'll keep you guys posted.
with a
Where
QR
I'm
code
trying
for
to
what?
towards the product that I want to sell on Threads. So
People
I'm
won't see
trying to
it.
just
People are going to use the link, not the QR code. Most people are using it on their phones,
whoop.
so they're not going to be able to
Well,
scan the QR code.
well, here's the thing. I use my phone and my laptop with Threads, so I wanted to like play around with it. But I I think that you're not wrong, but I'm trying to figure out how to like I'm still concerned about clicking off the platform. So
I wouldn't be. I would be concerned about volume. Like, can you compete with the volume of stuff that's being posted at any given moment on Threads? Like, I think, like how you said Danielle sent you like 14 emails during the course of the Grants for Creator Summit. Like, think about how many times she posted on Threads a day
yeah,
trying to get signups. Like, it was a lot. Like, it was at
She
least
was
14 a
posting a
day.
lot. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
She was.
I
yeah.
didn't
But
even notice, guys.
I
Okay,
did.
that's a good
But
point.
I'm also just like, so yeah, I think like it's a volume game there versus like a click off platform game. Like, I don't think you're being penalized for that.
And
Um,
I think on there the hashtags play a big role too. Like where you hashtag to what audience.
yeah,
That's a big one as well.
yeah, yeah. Surprisingly, the ads on Threads don't annoy me. I don't know.
I
I
didn't even
haven't even
notice them.
noticed that.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now
I
I'm gonna
just
be looking.
noticed all I notice right now is like people are irate at freaking Taylor Swift. That was messy. And then I saw
Um,
something with Tokyo Tony. That was messy. Like I'm like, oh, this is it's like a gossip magazine, but not annoying quite yet. And so I'm having fun with it. I'm not gonna lie.
I
But
think
I'm
like
definitely gonna optimize it.
I think like the Threads platform is definitely an algorithm that you have to build because I ain't seen none of what you're talking about. I haven't seen nothing about no Taylor Swift. I ain't seen nothing about no Tokyo Tony. All I'm seeing is D'Angelo and WNBA threads. Just straight up.
No, I've seen D'Angelo and I see a lot about Colorado. Did I tell you guys how I hung out with people that I met the other day
'Cause that's
on
your feed,
Threads?
like, you curated that,
Yeah,
like, it's yours, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's for you, you're thriving, and,
yeah,
like, that's
yeah.
Threads, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's great. I
And
know.
they improved it because I made the mistake of clicking on somebody's stuff and I just kept getting a bunch of that kind of content. And I had to go like
Oh,
recurate all my stuff in order to do that. So they did improve the algorithm because for a while I got off of threads because that was happening. I was like, damn, I clicked one link and now I'm getting inundated with all this content that it was just out of curiosity. I didn't even want to see it. As soon as I saw it, I got off of it. It was like, oh, it's not for me. And I moved on. And then that's all I was seeing. But now the curation is a little bit better. But like again, the hashtags too, the ones you follow, like if you put, I think you can follow them or whatever, right? Or you put it on there, it'll start showing a lot of content from those too. So, but I mean, the Taylor Swift thing. I mean, every time she puts something out or does something, she gets a lot of. So I just like ignore that stuff.
no, no. I mean, it wasn't
I don't even
necessarily.
know what's
It was
going
like
on with
kind
her.
of a don't know. Like we don't even want to talk about it. Um, let's talk about holiday sales and just preparing. So, lovely viewers, have you started selling? Like, have you started the process for the holiday sales cycle? Just put a one in the chat so we know, or
Have you
two if you're like, no, Michelle, what's up?
have you guys have heard of targeted ads through transcriptions where
No.
advertisers are now okay? Because I was telling Angela I was using Notebook LM and the research I've been doing they can you could actually it'll actually take all your research and create a podcast over it on it. And it created a 15-minute podcast for me that I was listening to this morning, which was it's kind of mind blowing. Like it's pretty good. Um, but in it, I was doing research on like building audiences, right? Like how do you find
Right.
like what are some tactics we could do to build or how people build audiences? And they mentioned how advertisers are using are using targeted ads bec through transcripts, and then it made sense to me. I was like, "Oh, this makes sense why everybody's been focusing on transcription so much." I thought it was because they were trying to make things more accessible. It's like, no. Now you could target keywords in the transcription, which is like with YouTube and all those stuff. You can actually target keywords that and place ads for that audience that they're talking about that particular topic or keyword. So you were talking about tactics. I believe that might be something that people might want to start investigating, especially if you're running ads on certain platforms, like on YouTube or like on some of these podcasts for like Libsyn or whatever, Buzzsprout, whatever their ad networks are, Spotify, and see if they have that option where you can start targeting content based off the keywords inside the conversation that people are having.
I'm
Can I say
actually really. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, can I just implement a creator tech rant here for, like, a second? That
Yes.
probably won't happen for another year, but when the year happens and it comes around, I just want y'all to revisit this conversation mentally and be like, "Angela said this is gonna happen." Because I was, like, praising the gospel that, like, YouTube could do dynamic ads forever, and then it finally happened, and now people are, like, excited, and I'm like, "I told you it was possible. They just needed to listen." Okay, so, like, my thing about audio and, like, transcriptions and, like, how they fit into, like, the newsletter space, like, I think even on here, like, Substack allows you to generate, like, an AI voice over of your newsletter, and Beehive does as well. My craziest thing is that if they could figure out how to, like, give us the option to train the AI on our voice pattern so it actually sounds like you. I know this is like people don't like that, but I don't give a shit. So, like, like, if they could do that, and then when there's, like, an ad in your newsletter, it'll automatically generate an ad link in the show notes of the podcast, like, audio version of said newsletter, and then connect that to your current RSS feed, so don't make you create a new RSS feed for your show, like, connect it to an RSS feed you already have, and you could just do that with a click of a button every time you write a newsletter. My God in heaven, I will listen,
I think I
listen,
think that's coming. I think that's coming because
listen.
on if you
Yeah.
anybody that's on the Sora app knows there are cameos where you can upload your likeness and your voice and it actually takes it and create you can actually create
But you
content
have
with
to sign
AI.
away your name, image, and likeness, and
Yeah,
I don't
well
wanna do that.
Yeah, but if the idea you have, that's what you're gonna wind up doing with all those platforms
Yeah,
because
I hate
that's
to
the only
say
way they
it.
could legally really make it work for you. And they have to use it to train. So like especially with all the training issues and copyright issues and stuff and trademark, you're gonna wind up signing away those rights unless you build your own application and do that. But
Do you feel like there's a way we could sign it to use our voice likeness for the strict, like only for private purposes? So they can't license my voice, name, image, or likeness for things that are not related to my newsletter or to my content. Like, do you
I
think
mean
that will be possible?
I mean it's specifically just used with
Yeah, like I'm not
your
signing it away for Beehive or anybody else to do something with it that I don't approve of.
I mean, that's easy. That's an easy legal issue, but I don't think these companies are looking at it that way because they want all
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Guess I'm asking, like, do you think they're gonna do the ethical thing and
No,
allow us
No,
to sign out of? All
that's
no.
right.
twice you.
Now we have
That's
this
twice.
path. Thank
You,
you.
you
So,
see, you
so
see
for
how
me,
fast we both
so
know.
so for me, it's grifty. For Angela, it's ethical. We got to figure out the one for Michelle because you talk about these companies. They if they wanted to do the ethical thing, they would have started the copyright and trademark protection immediately when
Hmm.
they decided to roll these things out. No, they're not going to do it ethically.
I don't think so either. I think it's a great idea, and even I, who's not a fan of the idea, I think it's a great idea. I hate the mechanical sounding voices that people have at the. I don't want to listen to that. It's so
No one
annoying.
wants to listen to that. They want to hear
It's
you. They
horrible.
want to feel
Well,
like they're connecting with you, but it is a big lift to write something, especially if you're like me, because I'll be writing it at 5 a.m. when it goes out at 7. No shade.
Oh,
But
oh,
it's like I don't have time to go back and then record it and try to embed it into the show before it goes. Like I just don't have time for that. Like,
I'm gonna
right.
email you guys the episode from my Notebook LM because when I first heard it
Oh
to
God.
this now, you- yo, listen, they're stuttering, they're breathing, they're it's very white centered, but it's not bad. Like it's like yo, like before I couldn't listen to it. Now I was like I was walking to the bus stop this morning listening to it. I was like I forgot how. Then when it ended, I was like, oh shoot, I felt like I was listening to a podcast episode like of people.
Oh my God.
You can still hear it, but it's like and maybe that's for Google. Now I will say ethically, I think how Google does Notebook LM is probably more in line with the ethical part you're talking about, where when you put your content in there, it only stays in that encapsulated space. It doesn't. It's not tapping into like the broader Gemini, AI network and stuff. So that's one of the things that and it's built for research. So I think that's why it does that.
yeah.
So you don't go on Notebook LM and do like searches for content outside of whatever you feed it, whatever you feed it. So
I want to talk about something adjacent to this, which is just uh, Google AI and just AI search like that's adjacent to AI. Like when you're going to chat GPT and you're typing in a prompt or what have you. For me, one of the biggest things that I will be working on, um,
Sorry. Coach Shai said it's a good newsletter though, Angela.
it
We listen
is,
and don't judge.
yeah, it is. I don't listen, but I love her newsletters, so we'll
Why
leave it at that.
I feel judged though. I feel
I
judged in
don't
this.
know. There's no judgment. I love the newsletter. I don't listen to no mechanical voice person.
I don't put
Anywho,
a mechanical voice. Any audio
I'm
newsletter
just
I've ever done
saying,
has been my voice. But
no,
continue.
I'm just saying, like in general, like I don't want to listen to a newsletter. I still want to read. That's a better way to put it. So I'm a person who's going to read your newsletter. For other people where it's an accessibility actually issue or they're
That's it.
busy or they got kids, they're going to listen. I'm going to read. And that actually speaks to producing your content in ways so that your ideal person is able to consume it. I do want to talk about the fact that I am really spending a lot of time trying to figure out how AI is generating the backlinks that it does and how to get at the top of the feed, especially for my Colorado project. I think that's going to be a little easier than for creators getting paid because I've always done well in Google search for that other project. So, excuse me, as I work towards like making my content, putting my content out there and trying to do sales, um, I'm really trying to figure out like how can AI find my content so that it's serving it to people. I'm also using Pinterest again, because I think that Pinterest has seized on an opportunity. They feel, I think that they're aware that they have an opportunity to get people to use it again. And so that's something I'm also working on. I don't think I'll see any benefit for the holiday season, but I'll see a benefit with that later on.
Yeah. I don't know. This is just my take as someone who like uses Perplexity as almost like a my Google search. Like if I'm searching for something, especially because like for research even too, like I use Perplexity instead of Notebook LM. And just from what I've seen, like when it gives me links for things that I'm searching, it's not necessarily searching for SEO. Like SEO helps, titles help, but what it's really searching for is like what is the most relevant article
Yeah.
for this thing. And so that's why I don't so then because like if you think about newsletters too, like the title and subtitle I write are not for SEO. They're to get people to click in their email. Those are
Yeah.
two different purposes, right?
Yeah.
But given what I've seen in Perplexity, that's not necessarily a bad thing because it's parsing data. So it's not just going off search results. There's a lot of crap that ranks high in Google search that is not relevant at all. And I think
I
like
should
that's why Perplexity and like Notebook LM are like, no, we're actually going to parse the data and we're going to give you the most relevant articles and we'll link back to that in our answer. And that's like what I've been focusing on, just making the most relevant thing.
I should mention I'm not actually talking about my newsletter when I'm making this specific comment. I'm talking about my podcast and my website posts because I
Same
still
thing.
create.
Same thing. Like what gets
I'm just
somebody to
saying.
click on a podcast is different than what's going to get someone to like search for a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like
No, I
there are
know, but
podcasts with, and even like YouTube videos too. Like for example, on YouTube, Colin and Samir just started back up creator support, and their new kind of like title format is "We fixed their YouTube problem in 19 minutes." That is not something like somebody is necessarily searching for. If they were making this more search friendly, they would say, I fixed Adrian Parr's YouTube problem. And like they would use the creator's name because they're trying to rank for that creator, right? That's not the same thing that gets clicks. So I think even for like podcasts, YouTube, same thing. What you're trying to do is get clicks. What you're trying to do is get people to find you. What gets people to click versus what gets found in search are two different things. Often,
no, I
most of
know, but I still think that how like when I'm listening to different podcast episodes about this, they're making some of the points that you're making around. I don't want people looking for my numbers, by the way, but
yeah.
they're making a point around like search intent and what people are looking for, and how AI is generating the result. And so I feel like as someone, I'm good at SEO, right? But I think that to your point, there's a nuance with AI generated results, and so I'm trying to make sure that I'm understanding like that nuance so that when I'm titling things, when I'm having H2 headers, when I'm doing that within the base of my content, that that it's something that would uh, that an AI would scrape and parse and want to serve up to the people that are looking for those results. So like really understanding like how an AI thinks versus how an SEO thinks, because there's a difference. And so just really like consuming content around what is the difference. So just working through that. I think it's subtle but important to your point, and just like working on it, you know.
I think
I'm
I
infinitely
think we
scared that you can find people's emails and phone numbers from
Yeah,
Perplexity.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find that easy on Google too if you look, if you know the
Oh
right
my
things
god.
to say. But I think we also have to consider with the AI search stuff too. Is the habit of the user, right? Like
Right.
it's making people like I'm gonna use the political climate as an example because it's starting to one we know AI hallucinates, right? But I
Mhm.
think people are getting lazy on how they write their search parameters, right? It's just like because they're getting caught up in that. I'm gonna use Google, right? On that AI summary. Because sometimes, I mean, I do it too when I'm trying to look up something real quick, but I also click on the link to see the source of it, of the information as well, which I don't think a lot of people do. Um, but I think that like that AI summary part is like making people lazy in their searches where they're not being very more specific. Like now it's like, I've been learning a lot of meta prompting, right? So like if yeah, when we use these tools, we're all kind of doing like meta prompting and stuff. So we're getting more very direct information. But who's the average listener that wants to learn about things in Colorado is going to sit down and do a whole meta prompt on
Mhm.
to get real targeted information, right? So I think we need to think about that side of the conversation too. What is the user experience and what are the users? How are the users using these tools? Which goes to what like Angel said with Colin Samir, like maybe they've been doing a lot of research on like, well, how are the users using this to find because that's a very specific amount of time, 19 minutes. That's clearly
Right.
a data driven
Well,
decision
it's
to
the
choose
length of the
19
video.
minutes.
It's the length of the video. So,
Yeah, but
like,
that's still very data driven, you
yeah,
know.
it
Mhm.
is. Yeah, and it's like the content is still the same. So I think if like an AI is parsing, it's still going to get the meat and potatoes of this, and it's still going to learn from Colin and Simia, but it doesn't necessarily need to be an SEO title that ranks well with for AI to like parse and understand that they're an authority in the space. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
But just so
also
you
just
guys
wanted
know, I'm
to.
sorry, just so you guys know, like for things like your phone numbers and emails and stuff, like especially on Google, you can make a request to have it removed off of there. If it's coming up in feeds and stuff, just so people know, you can make you got to find out what the process for each company or search tool or whatever, but you can make a request to have that stuff blacklisted.
I also just want to say
Cool.
it makes me infinitely happy that you said meta prompting because I just learned about that a long time ago and I've been using Notion AI for that and it's been very helpful. I like feel like we're nerding out about AI, but it's cool.
I've been learning about it all weekend. Which back to Coach Ty,
Oh,
which because my time is all over the place. I think the meta prompt and me learning the meta prompt is going to make me be able to build out a product for a template on Notion at least or a templated thing that I want to do. The idea that I have faster because I'm getting better at the being very specific and being able to write the prompts much much clearer to get the results that I really need instead of doing a whole bunch of fighting and cursing out ChatGPT in our conversations and stuff. So
The thing about the rabbit holes is like sometimes you got to go to the rabbit holes to get to like the heart of the situation because the reality with AI and why I even started using Perplexity was because Google Gemini like generated like search summary was so terrible. It was like repeatedly wrong. Like more often than not, it was wrong. And I was like, I need more accurate search results when I'm trying to like be lazy. But also like when I'm asking more complicated questions, like we've have just grown up with this relationship with search that is relatively simple, if we're being honest. And speaking with an AI is drastically different. You have to be way more specific, way more direct, way more clear in order to get close to what you want in the time that you want. And so you're not like wasting prompts or tokens or whatever it is. So there's that. Like our relationship with talking to a computer is fundamentally changing. Whether or not people are fundamentally changing their search habits based on that is a completely different thing. But
I'm gonna give y'all some advice that I always tend to forget when I'm doing what we say this in programming is that computers are stupid. AI is
mm,
stupid because it's computer based. Even though it may give you the impression or the or hallucination that it's really smart and intelligent, or it really isn't. It gives you back what you ask it for. So, and I keep forgetting that I have to be explicit in what I'm looking for, and that's how you got to write code. You want to be explicit in your code. Um, so I always got to remember to lean back on that idea. And I think that's why the meta prompt. And when I saw it, I was like, duh.
when I heard meta prompting, I was like, you mean to tell me I need to talk to a computer to figure out how to talk to a computer? Like, why? But then I
Yeah.
started doing it and I was like, actually, it is better than me at this. And that's a little scary if when you think about it.
I have a question. So we're, preparing for the holiday, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about pricing. Let's talk about pricing. We talked for the last couple of weeks, we talked about low ticket, high ticket. What is that like? What are you guys thinking about in terms of pricing for your products? I feel like we've had a conversation in the past where we were not as enthusiastic about discounts. I feel like that happened at one point, um, maybe in passing, but like, what are we thinking about pricing? What are our thoughts?
I think like discounts for discount's sake are a no, but like discounts for a specific holiday or yes. Like that's what Black Friday is for. Like I'm expecting 50% plus off. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm expecting
Mm,
you to do whatever it takes to clear the shelves to make way for 2026 or like the new year. Um, and so if I know that's what I'm expecting, that's what I'm trying to give people. I'm trying to give people like a really, really time sensitive, steep discount um,
mhm.
that feels worth their time, not just like I'm participating in Black Friday just to say I'm participating in Black Friday. Like I'm giving you a measly 10% discount and telling you to be happy. Like that's not really in the spirit of holiday giving, shall we say. Like that just doesn't work. But yeah, discount on Wednesday just because you want to make sales, that's dumb. Like I'm sorry. That just doesn't work. Don't do it, Corey. Thank you.
I wasn't complaining on it. Discounts.
She does
uh,
have other feelings.
What are discounts?
I'm like, I'm gonna say I'm gonna agree with Angela. I think that again, I'm talking about doing bundles, and just like really making sure that I run the numbers that I can deliver what I'm bundling if I'm bundling in a way that makes sense, that it's an easy lift for me. I don't provide services typically to people that often. More typically, if I'm doing services, it's like a consulting thing. It's to an organization. Yeah. So I think that helps me to kind of navigate around where I want to make sales and what that looks like. I think there's also a risk low key around having it be too low. So, I have shifted to a primarily like 85% of my products are low ticket. And then I have one that is mid tier, I think two that are mid tier, and then one that's high ticket. And so really making it make sense, right? So that's part of the reason why I'm like really trying to grow and warm my audience even more, so that I even have people who would even be interested in these things, right? If I'm selling something at like $10, that's a lot of $10 that I have to sell. So, I don't want to I want to make sure that I'm spending energy in a way that moves me towards the end results that I'm hoping for. And so that's, I think, also tricky because all three of us are very thoughtful around how we monetize and just how we're positioning our products. And it's something that we spend a lot of time reflecting on. And I don't want to reflect on it in such a way that that I'm selling in a way that harms me or it doesn't make sense. So it's just kind of like having those conversations with myself now so that I'm 100% bought in to what I'm about to do later.
I think for me, I'm kind of like with you. Like I'm honestly, to be honest with you right now, it's kind of difficult for me because with the BPA, we're in the process of, and then I've said this, I'm in the process of restructuring things. We're going to be rebranding a lot of things. We're going to be changing our direction with some of the things that we've been doing. So I don't want to, I don't want to, sell something and make a promise that's not going to be that's not a part of the plan. So for me, the membership drive will be more just, which is part of my overall plan, is just to get more members in our community and get people more interactive with each other and giving us a bigger pool to work from and helping to solve the needs of Black creators in this space. The template idea, well, I'm actually, well, let me just talk about it. I'm actually going to be moving into consulting and helping people build communities off of my experience these past 5 years. So that's kind of what I've been working on, which is part of the template that I'm working on with the Notion and probably Google Sheets. That's going to be a low ticket item because it's a very specific. Thanks to our conversation last week and Angela dropping that jewel, it could be. I just looked at things a little bit different. And I was like, I just need to. I'm terrible at it too because I don't like talking to somebody and then I implemented something that they pay me or ask me to. I just spent 30 minutes going back and forth with you and helping you get to this point, and then you don't even do it. And people be like, "Oh, you got paid for it." I'm like, "Yeah, I could have got paid doing something else too." You know what I'm saying? Something I really wanted to do. But the template's
Do
going to
you like
be
consulting course?
look, rent got to get paid, yo. Rent got to get paid, and I gotta make some pivots. But nah, consulting is cool. I like helping people, and I like for me the consultant part. It also gets me thinking about things. Having a back and forth with somebody. Sometimes it helps me see a perspective I didn't see, and and then it sparks something. I mean, essentially off one of those wild tangents that I go on. But I think the template's going to be what we're going to consider a low ticket item. One because Notion templates typically tend to run within a certain price range. So unless I'm trying to undercut something, it doesn't make sense for me to. And that's more of a quantity thing than no, I'm going to say quality because it's always going to be good quality. It's more of a quantity thing. Yeah, that's the other part. But Lauren, but for me, it's more of a quantity thing by working on this template. It's kind of an experiment on how fast I could build out some of these ideas I have too using Notion AI. So yeah, I do have a tough love approach. I have a tough love approach to a lot of things. So you know, when I used to manage, my staff used to call me a drill sergeant. So that gives you guys kind of an idea. Look, it's there's a lot of reasons for it, but you know, but that's where I'm at with it. It's like the product portion. I'm really focusing on 2026. A lot of ideas we have are going to be more community orientated. So I don't even know if we'll. I, I think we're going to more. I'm going to move more. BPA is probably going to move more towards a marketplace than a service provider
Hmm.
over here. Um,
Hmm.
Boy, we'll see.
Okay.
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 I'm excited about that. All right. I'm
Me and Miss
excited
Girl
about
have the
these
same
changes
race.
coming.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
oh,
need to make some products that are just gonna bring some money in, so I could go, indulge in my movie theater experiences and stuff, and pay the rent.
okay, wait, let's talk about that. So we've been, hey, everybody. So for those of you who are new to us, you may not know that the three of us have been creating products since I want to say May. Like we've been working. I think this has been like a quieter season in some respects for all of us because we've been in product development for most of the year. And so now that I'm kind of at the tail end of all that, I'm really moving into marketing. And so I'm really trying to think about like once I complete all these freaking products, getting them in front of the right people and just recurring income. Like I'm thinking about all these things. I like consulting, but I don't. It's a heavy lift, because when I consult, it's oh my god. When I consult, you guys, I have my laptops. It's all set up. Anyway, whatever. When I'm consulting, it's with the organization, and like it's such a heavy lift. It makes me tired, even though I get paid good money. Like I get the consulting I do is good money, but I'm not as fired up about it. So maybe in 2026, maybe I would do one consulting gig. Like I'd like to phase out. So I'm really trying to think about what's the big picture look like. And like how many members do I want in the membership and by the end of 2026, how many courses would I like to sell like at the regular price. So I'm just really trying to think about how am I going to do this and how am I going to expand the revenue so that the free stuff that I want to do, I can do free. And so that's kind of what I'm spending a lot of time thinking about. For the membership, I have a tier where it's a social good tier. So basically, a person can pay for someone else's membership, but that other person's membership is discounted. So it's like slightly more, but it's not the full price for both people. So I'm just trying to really make it make sense to me because 2026, I can't be in these fascist streets broke. Like that's not going to work. I can't be, putting all the, like Corey said, I got mortgage to pay.
Right.
So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make it make sense because I've spent a lot of time and energy building things out, rethinking stuff, reworking. how I want things to be, moving stuff off of Substack. Like I've put a lot of energy into making it make sense for me. And so now I'm really both nervous and excited to see what comes next. And this Q4 push is really that that first step towards the 2026 results that I'd like to build out.
Okay. We've been talking for a
And I'm
little over an
nervous.
hour.
Oh my
So you
god.
nervous?
Yeah.
I'm definitely nervous. Absolutely. Like it could I don't think it's gonna fail, but I think I'm gonna learn a lot along the way. I'm gonna have to put myself out there in ways that maybe I'm a little shy to do. Like, yes, I'm gregarious and yes, I, am focused and whatever, but I'm human. Like sometimes I'm tired. Like I'm tired a lot this year. Um I have to manage my mood a lot. Sometimes I don't want to show up uh, when I have to show up, right?
Yep.
So it's been so being at the tail end of building all these products out, quite honestly, is a huge it's going to be a huge weight off my shoulders just to market and nurture community. I cannot wait. I cannot wait because it'll simplify a lot of things.
I'm semi in agreement with that. Like when I finally finished Community OS, I was like, okay, like it's done. Like this has been months in the making and like it's done. Now I just need to figure out like the marketing. And I say figure out because again, this is like these are products we're not just gonna be promoting through Black Friday. They're gonna be
Right.
promoting for like years in the future. And so it's like what resonates with people, what doesn't, what gets people engaged, what gets feedback, like what are the hindrances to people buying a product? What are the things that make them want to buy a product? What are the things they wish the product had? Like all these things. So I feel like I'm in that phase of it now, and there's still a lot of marketing left for me to do just to get it out the door, like the first 30 days. So I feel that I was definitely nervous about it, as I told you guys privately, and now I'm saying publicly because I just be giving away my thoughts for free. But yeah,
Humans, do you have any questions, thoughts, anything you want us to touch on before we wrap up? Like anything? You guys hung out with us for a while. I love it. Um, Also, if you could do us a favor and share the live with that share button in the right hand corner, just share it. That would be awesome. Um, I think we've talked. Not even. I think we've been talking about these topics because one, we want to show that we don't have it all figured out. We're still trying it as we're trying things out. We're ideating, we're experimenting along the way just as much as you are. And so if you are someone who's very reticent about starting or you're perfectionist or you're nervous or you haven't or maybe you're not a perfectionist, you haven't even gotten there yet because life is lifing, um, know that we get it and we're there too, and we're trying the best we can. But um, you're never going to get to even close to any end result you're hoping for if you don't start. So there's also that, you know.
Yep. I think we should leave it on that gem. Get started. Just do it. Just do it.
Let's do it, guys.
Yeah.
okay, Mikey. Thank you guys for being with us. While you're wearing an Adidas shirt, that's hilarious.
Oh my god. I think you're gonna like my new. No, I won't have it next week. I'm very excited. I'm gonna buy a new T-shirt, and you're gonna be like, "No, you're not wearing that shirt." I can't wait. But I think it won't be next week. It'll
Ooh,
be the week after.
the suspense.
You're gonna be like, "You're so ridiculous," but I've been wanting this shirt for a while.
okay. Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in out. I will go first since Michelle is going to throw me under the bus anyway. My name is Angela.
She's
All
never
right,
off.
please hustle responsibly. And Melanin MVP, two newsletters you can find here on Substack. One of them, if you're a creator, an entrepreneur, a nonprofit leader, and you want to build a community, learn, connect, and grow alongside other people. Please Hustle Responsibly is for you. If you are a woman of color athlete, a woman of color sports fan, Melanin MVP was made for you. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Corey, what's up, my guy?
I'm Corey Gums. I'm the founder of the Black Podcast Association, as well as a newsletter here on Substack, blackpodnews.com, the only newsletter dedicated to the Black professional and creator space here in the podcast industry. And I'll leave it at that for tonight.
And I am Michelle Jackson. I run Creators Getting Paid. I ask creators, primarily Black, Brown, and a few allies, how they make money online. I'm super excited about tomorrow's newsletter that's coming out. So that one's, I'm very excited to share that one. My goal is to share these um, stories and just our experiences so that it helps to better inform my readers and community members how to leverage the creator economy. I know that it's real. I know that people make money with it. I have many, many friends who've done very well, but it is a journey. um, Also, I run a website and podcast called Square State Colorado. If you're looking to visit Colorado, have questions, that is the place where I refer people to. So that's it, guys. I'm
Have
hungry
a good
now.
night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right, see you guys next week.